Hola clase, ¿cómo están? Señor Ramos aquí con ustedes. Nada, hoy vamos a aprender y hablar sobre los sustantivos y los adjetivos. Today we are going to learn and talk about nouns and adjectives and how they agree, or how they must agree in Spanish. We're doing this video mainly probably because of the snow and everything going on. I want to make sure we continue to learn even if it's a virtual day. So I'm trying to plan ahead. So is what it is, guys. We're going to do the best we can. You can rewind this video as much as you want. If you're not sure, you can always ask me questions. But or we're going to try and teach you this way, explain as if I were teaching you the class and you were sitting out here in front of me. So nouns and adjectives and how they agree. All right, noun adjective agreement. First off, adjectives in English, we know that they go before the noun. All right, but in Spanish, it's the opposite. All right, it's the opposite. Adjectives in Spanish go after the noun. After. All right, so in English, where we might say the black cat, right? In Spanish, right, it is the cat black. Right now, obviously, we're going to translate that. That's not. It would be el gato negro. So here would be our noun. All right, and then here's our adjective. All right, here's our adjective. So that's the first things first. The placement of our adjectives according to our nouns. Adjectives come after the noun in Spanish. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on over. Apologize for any shakiness or Blair Witch Project feeling you get here. All right. All nouns and adjectives, guys, this is really, really important. If you are not a native speaker and you try to go speak with other natives or other Hispanics and you don't do this part correct, it will stick out like a sore thumb. And they will either know, number one, that you're not native, or number two, you were taught very poorly. All right, so this is really, really important. All nouns and adjectives must, all the time agree in two ways, in two things: gender and number. All right, that's not hashtag. All right, for all you tweeters and TikTokers out there. All right, this is a hashtag. This is number. All right, gender and number. All right, and you want that ingrained in your head. If I ever ask you, how must nouns and adjectives agree? You should right away, gender and number. All right, how must nouns and adjectives agree? Gender and number, gender and number, gender and number. Boom, boom. All right, they got to agree in gender and number. So remember, we just got done talking about last week how nouns have gender, masculine, feminine, right? So they got to agree. If the noun is masculine, the adjective must be masculine. If the noun is feminine, the adjective must be feminine. Okay, they got to agree. Also in number, what do we mean by number? We're talking about singular, plural. So if the noun is singular, excuse me, the adjective must also be singular. If the noun is plural, the adjective must also be plural. They have to agree both ways. Okay, so here's some examples. We have la regla amarilla. Right? The yellow ruler. You'll notice that it's singular, 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 feminine, feminine, feminine. All right, next example. Los libros rojos. All right, the red books. This is plural, 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 masculine, masculine, masculine. You cannot say la libro rojos. It doesn't agree. It's just like that toy we talked about that the babies play with, trying to put the circle shape into the triangle hole. It won't go. All right, it has to match. All right, next example. Una camisa blanca. Feminine, 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 singular, singular, singular. It's got to agree. Two ways, gender and number. All right. So again, if I ask you, guys, how must nouns and adjectives agree? You should right away. Gender and number. Okay? Gender and number. All right, looking at some of our colors over here. Looking at some of our colors. In your vocab, right, you are going to have a list of colors that you're going to write down, right? And so when we describe articles of clothing, when we describe objects in the classroom as far as what color they are going to have to agree gender and number, all right? There are a few, let me turn this, sorry. There are a few that don't change gender, they will only change, they will only change in number, okay? So these colors here, café, which is brown, azul, blue, rosa, pink, verde, green, gris, gray, violeta, violet. They will not change gender. They will change number. So you can take café and you can write cafés, S. Azules, right, ends in a consonant, ES. Rosas, verdes, grises, consonant, ES. Violetas. You can make it plural, all right, and you can keep it singular, but you can't change the gender. All right, we're not going to add an A here to make it feminine and say azula. That doesn't work. All right, we won't say roso, all right, because we want to add an O because it's masculine. It's always going to be rosa. These will not change. Your other colors will. So rojo can be roja, blanco can be blanca, negro can be negra, morado can be morada, purple, anaranjado can be anaranjada, amarillo, amarilla. They can all change back and forth gender. These colors cannot change gender, okay? All right, so knowing that they have to agree gender and number, knowing that the adjective has to come after the noun, all right, and knowing that these colors won't change, but your other ones will, all right, you should be able to use this information to do your work as far as noun adjective agreement goes, okay? All right, now we're gonna switch, over here to AR verbs. All right, this will be our other lesson that we will need to do next week. All right, so ignore the colors. If you remember, we talked about, when we talked about the verb ser and the subject pronouns, and we had that chart. All right, we talked about how there were three types of verbs, right? We did an ER verb, that was ser. All right, we said that there are AR verbs and there are IR verbs. All right, and if you remember, we said that the AR, ER, IR refers to how it ends in the infinitive. So ser was an ER verb, it's spelled SER because it finishes in ER. All right, hablar, HABLAR, all right, is an AR verb. Because it ends in AR. All right, so we're going to talk about AR verbs today and how they end. All right, now these are all regular, which means that they're going to follow a certain pattern in how you conjugate them. Remember what we said conjugation means. Conjugation means the breaking down of the verb infinitive. So we have the verb infinitive, to do something, to talk, to sing, to dance, to eat, to run, to write, to listen, to study. They are all to do something. Right? We're going to break that down into its different subjects. Remember the subject pronouns. Yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, and ellos, ellas, and ustedes. Okay? So we're going to break down these regular AR verbs in their pattern. And this is how you do that. All right? First, you're going to drop the AR. All right? We're going to drop it like it's hot. Get it out of there. And then we're going to add the appropriate ending according to the subject. So depending on what subject it is, depending on what ending it's going to get. Now you guys will notice we have this chart here. This is why I always want you writing these, when we conjugate verbs, right, and the subject pronouns, I always want you doing it this way. This is first person singular I form. This is second person singular to form. Third person singular, he, she, or you formal. This is the we, first person plural. And this is third person plural. So what we do is what we just said. We drop the AR, we get it out of there. And if it's the yo form, we're going to put an O in its place. So yo and hablar would become yo hablo. All right. If it's the to form, we're going to drop the AR and we're going to add AS in its place. So it would be hablas, tu hablas. It would be habla. All right. Nosotros, we would drop the AR, we would add amos. And in plural, ellos, ellas, ustedes, we would drop the AR and we would hablan. All right, and it's going to be that way for all the verbs that are regular that end in AR. Now, you should start seeing a pattern, right? It's an AR verb, and you'll notice most of them look AS, A, AMOS, A. All right? And we'll see that pattern as we get to ER and IRs, how that continues from the infinitive through the rest of the verb conjugation in the present tense. Okay, in the present tense. So, some examples. Here we have yo and hablar. We got rid of the AR. We said yo hablo. This means I talk or I am talking. All right, here we have nosotros estudiar. So it becomes nosotros estudiamos. All right, we're going to drop the IR only. We keep everything else. All right, and we add AMOS for the nosotros form. Estudiamos. We study or we are studying. Okay? It's really not any more difficult than that. There's nothing else that you need to do. They're regular. They're going to follow this pattern no matter what the verb infinitive is. So as long as you know it's regular. If I say, hey, this is a regular AR verb, you know it's going to follow this pattern right here. If I tell you, no, it's irregular, it's a stem changer, or there are some spelling changes. This one has a yogo, or this has this or that. Then okay, that's different. But if it's regular, it's going to follow this pattern. Okay. So here are some verbs that you need to know, especially through the work coming up through the rest of this week, and as we go for our quiz. All right. Hablar, it means to talk or to speak. Necesitar, all right, means to need. Estudiar is to study. All right. Llevar is to wear or to carry. All right. And terminar is to finish. All right. So here we're talking about studying for school, needing something as far as maybe a classroom object or article of clothing. All right. Speaking Spanish, obviously. Wearing clothes. All right. And then finishing classes. All right. So we have class subjects, part of this next vocab list, as well as clothing and colors. Okay? So, guys, again, you can rewind this video as much as you need to replay it, to go over the rules and how you do these things, but you will need these two things, noun adjective agreement and conjugating AR verbs in the present tense, very much so for the rest of the work this week. And we really don't know how many days we're going to be here with the snow, so I just wanted to record this video for you, that if we were home virtually, whether it was Wednesday or Tuesday, that we could still continue our learning, and you don't get way behind. I hope you're well and healthy, safe. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Trust me, I much rather would be doing this in person than through these videos. So, hasta pronto. We'll see you soon. Chao pues. Adios.